operate the radio, you go to tuner. It is ready for Sirius XM if you install a tuner and antenna. It has Bluetooth audio, so you can connect by Bluetooth to play Bluetooth music. Bluetooth phone, so it's the microphone that's up in the top corner. And USB for USB music. Swipe to the next page, you see the rear camera option. So you can select that if you are wanting to see the backup camera and it doesn't default. It is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatible, so that way you can have your map viewing from there and it'll mirror what's on your phone. Have the current mileage, this is where the warranty will start from. You have two 12-volt ports and the little buttons that are up to the side. These are the blind spot monitoring system. So if someone's on your blind side, these will light up. And if someone is on, if those are lit up and you turn your blinker on, no matter which side you turn your blinker on, it will beep. Okay. So to put the slide out or to have the jacks down, the parking brake has to be on. So I'm just gonna put the parking brake on by pressing down this lever. And of course do that with your foot. And the parking brake is on. So I'm gonna head to the back and we'll put the jacks down. You always put the jacks down before you put the slide out. Before you put the jacks down, you always go outside and just double check to make sure that there's nothing underneath the jack foot pads like a power cord, because you wouldn't want to steer it with the foot pad. Okay, so when you turn on the power, it says ready, jacks are up. And this is actually a red light that's flashing, and it's telling us the lowest point. So when we do in manual, we know which side has to go a little bit further. At this point, you can select auto level. However, we don't use this in gravel. We find that the rocks make a lot of extra adjustments in auto level. So I'm going to cycle through with these arrows. Just gives you some specs about which side is out of level. And so now manual level, enter to begin, press enter. And you always operate down in pairs, so I'm gonna press front until they touch. We'll feel the driver's side front jack touch first, and then the passenger side will touch. So I can feel that movement. And that's the second one. So now I'm gonna hold rear. One touch, two touch. All right, so now we want to clear those lights, so I can press the combination. And we can see the specs there. It's 0.5. 0.2 is close enough for it to consider level. So it's a solid green light in the center to tell us that it's level. And now go outside and just take a look at the jacks. So for the jacks, when you use auto level, it's very important that you don't have people circling around the unit watching the jack foot pads go down. It's fine if you sit in one space and look from there, but you don't want to throw off the sensors by having a lot of movement around it. If you find that in auto level the jacks lift the tires up off the ground, even if it's just one tire, that's not what it's meant to do. So you'd want to retract the jacks and put it down in manual mode. If that happened again in another location, like a different type of slope that you were parked over, you'd want to recalibrate the jacks, and that can be found in the manual for the jacks, and it's just a series of buttons that you press when you're on a solid ground. So right now I can open up the slide. So hold the slide out button. The engine is still running and the parking brake is on, so I'm just going to watch it to go all the way out. Let go there. So now I'm going to turn off the engine. It's very important that you don't turn off, or so that you don't retract the parking brake while either the slide is out or the jacks are down. If the jacks are down and you release the parking brake, they will emergency retract. So they'll snap right up and it'll be a pretty jerky movement because it thinks that you're trying to drive away. So the control panel is located right at the entry door. First are your indicator panels. Propane is reading as full. Battery is full. Freshwater, black, and gray tanks are all considered empty. The generator is at 0.2 hours, so this is just from testing, having the AC running, things like that. So we're gonna hold the prime side down for a few seconds or until we see this red light at gen come on, and then I'll hold it down on the start side. So there's that red light. Okay, so the generator is on now, and we're gonna hear the microwave beep to know that we have power. The water heater can be used for electric or propane, or a combination of the two if you do have both power supplies, and we saw the efficiencies of that outside. The water pump, this is how you turn it on. You just don't want to have the water pump on while the vehicle's in motion, because it causes a lot of extra vibrations than it already would do on its own. And that's the sound of the microwave getting power there. The Arctic package, so this switch you turn on if it's below 10 degrees. It will turn on as it needs to and turn off once it has warmed up. If you have the furnace on, which you should if it's cold out anyways to keep yourselves warm, it will not, it's most likely that the Arctic package won't turn on because the furnace is keeping it warm enough. These two switches are just the light switches for the kitchen and living room. The slide out button we use to put the slide out. And the driver's side rear light, this is the light over the dump station outside that I was talking about earlier. So I'm just going to turn on the AC while the generator is running. So the thermostat's located in the bedroom. It has a purple power button. And if you put it on cool and auto, the AC will automatically determine what fan speed it needs to use to reach the desired temperature. So your arrow would set the temperature there. Timer and sleep are basically the same thing. They're timers that you can set for the AC and furnace. So the AC would be the same as your unit. That's the blast cool function. So you would close this slider to be able to use these. You want to direct the air with the arrow button, and then you can gently spin them to direct the airflow. Just make sure you're not pressing on any of the other fins, or else they can pop out of place. So that's the air conditioner. And the furnace was just tested, that's why we saw it on heat, and that's how you get the furnace going. This furnace button is for a different model. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off and continue from the front after the generator's off. Just so that you can hear me. So the fridge, it has the peg here so that it doesn't open while you're driving. Otherwise, you can use it in this position as well so that it can defrost. So the fridge runs on 12 volt power. It is a 10 cubic foot fridge, and it has the temperature settings here. Okay. If for some reason you need to turn the power off on the fridge, you need to remove the fuse that's down in the breaker panel. So just as it says, refrigerator there, it is the second yellow fuse. This is a power fan with a roof vent cover. So just pretty simple operation. Just pull down to unlock the knob and twist it to open it up. And then you press the fan speeds there. Okay, to use the gas range, just make sure that you remove the glass backwards and that you tell all of your guests to do that before they start cooking as well. So after that's backwards, you put your knob onto high and turn the sparker. So do that for all of them. Okay. And this little button is just a light switch for the knobs. Before you drive, you will need to put the covers down. And so then it just kind of presses into place. Okay. For the convection oven, it does have a convection function here, and then you set the temperature that you'd like to cook at. There's two light switches here and an outlet. These are for the LED lights. And then the garbage cutout is down to the side, as in the compartment door outside. This is a wireless charging port, so you just set your phone on top of that if it is enabled to charge wirelessly. The carbon monoxide detector is down the side of the counter. All the manuals are located in here. All the manuals are located inside the Forest River pack. That's like airbags, AC, water heater, those sort of things are in here. For the gas range, speakers, solar panel, Arctic package, generator, things like that are in the smaller papers. The Ford manual is there, and then there are 3 remotes. So the TV remote works for all 3 TVs. This is the stereo remote and the dash stereo remote. The white wrench is for the water filter, and this is the privacy curtain that goes around the front. So there's a Velcro there, and it connects to these little black Velcro dots that go all the way across the front. It is kind of a one-size-fits-all privacy curtain. This is an extra end for a sewer hose if you're gonna clamp a hose onto here. And to scan the channels, I have this written down in a brochure that I provide as well. And you'll go to menu, channel, auto scan, and start to scan. You'll have to do this every time you go to a new location, and it is all like an automatic antenna. There's no crank or anything. The TV and radio antenna is together. It's a Winegard antenna on the roof, and it is connected in here. So this white coax there is the power supply for the antenna. There's a little tiny button on the other side of the coax. If it's a green light, the antenna has power. If the light is red, the antenna doesn't have power, so you won't get radio stations or TV channels. So if you're storing something up there, it might accidentally hit the button, and that would be why you wouldn't have channels. Otherwise, if you're not using any of the TV or radios, you can press that button off, and it won't take any power from the battery. This little compartment area here is so you can put a DVD player or Blu-ray player in here. It's already wired up, and it has a bit of a lip on it as well, so that it won't slide out, and it's a power connection as well. So PVR, whatever you like to add to the TV here, it's already pre-wired. And using the stereo. Okay, operating the stereo, there's 3 speaker settings, A, B, and C. A is for outside, which we heard while we were outside. B is for the living room. So I'm just going to turn that off, and we can hear C as the kitchen speakers. And it is Bluetooth, of course, and USB, so you can play music that way as well. So I'm just going to set the remotes in the netting here. It can also be used to hold your phones or devices while they're charging in the USB port above. For the skylights, it's best if you use 2 hands to push the blinds across. That way the strings stay even. The dinette makes into a bed. So to do that, you'll tilt the cushions upwards, and then you'll unlock this here and press the tabletop down.